Let's see here. What is that? Take that down to there. I'm still getting it arranged a little bit, so bear with me for just a minute. Excuse me. There's that piece of pizza. That's the way I can see the chat. All right. Tonight will be for the drawing, of course, but we'll give it a little bit to let everybody kind of populate, see how many people we get. I had actually only 8 people that entered the drawing, of all things. I had a couple of people actually watch the video and didn't bother entering, which I thought was strange. So anyway, how's everybody doing if you're out there? This feels odd. Hey, Moose. So while we're waiting, we'll give it a few minutes. And good evening to you, Mr. Moose. I'm going to try, while we're waiting, I'll do some of this Deanston Dictionary. It's a sample Aqua Vitae Roy sent to me, 46.3%. Been looking to give it a try. It's a good time as any. Try not to use it all up in one sample. I found this little sampler tasting cup. It's like a little mini Glencairn. I got a Leaper's Fork distillery in Tennessee when I went to their distillery. This stuff smells good. There's that malty note in it. I really don't know. I think it's available on the market. Moose. It's just called, I've seen the bottles. It's called Deanston Dictionary, Decennary. And he had a couple months back, he had a drawing, and I won the drawing, and he sent me a sample of this, and a sample of Long Row Red, 11-year-old. I've just never gotten around to opening it because it's like one of those things you just, in my case, once I open it, I drink it, then it's gone. And if I don't open it and drink it, I look at it and I admire it for a long time. But they're meant to be drank, and it's always a challenge sometimes for me to drink some of the samples I get. But I managed to do it. But no, I couldn't tell you. I don't know much about it. It's just the scenario. You'd have to look it up. I think it's available. I don't think it's a distillery only, but I don't know if it's available here in the U.S. yet. And it may be, I may not know. So I know for my contestants, I got you at the top, Moose, and V Rich, Whiskey Jason, Danny, Food Quig, Whiskey Music, Donner Pass, and Luis Ochoa. What I'll do is I got them all down here. Then I'll cut these each with my scissors, put them in here, and I'll shake it up. And then I'll draw the name. And you got a 1 in 8 chance, which is pretty good. And I'll mail it to you. And it'll be one of my last, this is my last 2 Glencairns. And I've talked to Blind Bourbon Reviews, and he's given me a guy to contact about getting more of these made. Where I got them made through, they told me it was the last ones they were running. They weren't going to run any more in Glencairns, so it's just not something they're interested in doing, I guess. So anyway, I got a website to contact these guys, and I got to send them my stuff, and I can get them made through them. And that's what I'll probably do. Eventually, I'm going to have to get them so I can sell them. Right now, mostly they've went to guys that I've served with. Bart and Scott each have one, and I think I sent one to Keith, Malted Man Cave, because he sent me some nice samples, and it was really nice of him. So I sent him one in return and some samples. So we're at 8:04. We'll wait to draw it here if you guys can hold on for at least 10 more minutes. We're down to 1 viewer now, so I don't know what's going on. There we go. We got another one. Hopefully, at least the 8 guys that can make it that put glass in, I'll contact them and let them know if they won, if they have. I don't want to stay on here too. I don't know. It's a good question. The Scotch for Dummies is going to have a live stream tonight. So I don't know when their live stream starts. So maybe I'm treading on their time. But this was just the best convenient time for me, and I just have to make it work. So we'll go from there. We'll draw here it's 8:06. We'll wait till 8:10, and I'll cut them up, begin the drawing process, and we'll go from there. But I can enjoy at least some of this Deanston until then. Get strawberries. Maltiness and strawberries. Almond. Nutmeg. That's good stuff. This is very good stuff. Deanston does make some good products. I've never had the 12, so I can't speak to the 12. But, of course, I've had the 30, and there was another one I got. Don't know where it's at. Maybe it's a 10. Maybe it was a 10. I almost bought the Deanston Virgin Oak to try it over the holidays when it was so cheap, but too little money, too many options, and it got kicked back to the side for more money to pile into something a little different. It's not a whiskey until it's shared. A gift to the Whisky Scout from Aquavitae. I sure would have liked to have been down there with them in Texas, but some of us in this world have to work. I have a lot of time off sometimes, but sometimes when I'm working, there's no time to be had at all. So, will you rate it? No, I got to have more than a 50 ml sample. If only time I ever rate a 50 ml sample is if it was like the Glenlivet 15, I think it was, and I'd already had a 750 of it previously, so I knew what it was, and then I don't mind rating something that way. But strictly on a 50 ml sample, I can say buy or don't buy, but I would struggle to give it a number score. I usually like to take a few days with it, over a week or so, at least minimum. Maybe 2 or 3 days, dram here, dram there. And that way my palate can adjust to what it's actually getting. Because even on some, if you've watched enough of my videos, you know, there's been a couple of videos where I come in there and then I still get something new at the moment I'm doing the video. And I have to include that. So, but yeah, this would be a buy. This is definitely worth it. It is some tasty stuff. It's no age statement on it, so, but the 46.3, that's another thing I like. I think my sweet spot, especially where scotches are concerned, is that 46 to 50 range. 46 and 48%, really, I respond real well to those. But when you get up into the 50 range and above, some can be a turnoff, some can be good. You have to add water. But that sweet spot for me is that 46 to 50 range, right in there. I love, if it's going to have the profile of everything I'm looking for, that's going to be the sweet spot for me. Now, that's not to say I don't like 43 or 40%ers. I mean, I love 43% too. I mean, Lagavulin 16 at 43%, it just, I mean, it runs circles around a lot of scotches that are 46 or higher, but 46 is like the gateway point to where 46% is where an NAS, if they have an NAS, that's the point where it begins to shine. If you've got an older age scotch, then yes, 16, 15, 16-year-old scotches, 43% can be fine then because age can make up the difference. But if you're running a 10 or 12, then the 46% range and above, that's where they tend to be better at. And even the NASs, because some NASs have older scotch in them, but some have enough younger scotch to kind of counterbalance. And it's a balancing act. And I don't understand it all. I mean, I'm not an expert by any means, but it's an interesting thing. Is the alcohol burn that is a turnoff? No, not really. The alcohol burn really doesn't bother me. If anything, when you get up around 52%, the alcohol begins to anesthesize. It acts as an anesthetic on your tongue. And that first one, it numbs your tongue. And numbing's not probably the best term, but it does, it shuts down a lot of your receptors in your tongue. And at that point, you lose some of the nuances in it, but you can drink after that, keep drinking. Bourbons operate better at higher percentages than scotch does. For me, now you got to always remember, you've always got to tailor this to my palate because this is not your palate, not Bart, not Scott's. They all have different responses at different levels. Because I like the Abuna, I always say it wrong, the Abuna, and I've got 3 or 4 of them over there, and they're all 60% roughly or higher. And I have to add water though. I mean, to eke out the finer flavorings, I've got to add water. If I don't add the water, it's good. There's nothing wrong, but I start missing out on stuff. If that makes any sense. I probably rambled on too long if that makes any sense to you. But no, the alcohol burn doesn't turn me off. Heck, I can drink. Time for me a hit off the old moonshine here, and I got no problems with it. And this is solid 50%, and you ain't getting nothing but corn and alcohol burn. And that's it. Nothing else. And I like a good moonshine. A good one, that's not very good. I use that for other things. I mean, it's good. No, it really isn't. I'm not going to sit here and lie. You want to see a good moonshine for, it's called 10 South Distillery Almighty Shine 140. It's Tennessee moonshine. But in this one, in that, it's made with 50% of it, if I remember right, what they said in the distillery is basically molasses based. I think it was molasses based. So half of it's corn based, half of it's molasses based. Right here. Spirits distilled from 50% corn and 50% cane. I said molasses, I mean cane. I'm sorry. And so you're getting a lot of rum characteristics, but it's a really, it may be not pure true moonshine, but that shit's good. I like it. You will taste it. When I walked out of the distillery, they gave me the shot in this right here just to try it. This little ampule says I survived a sip of Almighty Shine 140. I was tasting this 5 miles down the road after I left it. It just kept slowly making its way back around. It wasn't in a bad way. It was really pretty interesting stuff. All right, let's get on with this, and I can contact and we can go from there. It's just me and you, Moose, so the other guys, I'll just have to contact them when it does it because I don't want to be doing this forever. And I'm betting they're all over. So some of them are probably. Food Quig's probably working. Knowing him this time of night. He's probably still at work. He's the only one I really know out of all these. I know personally, I guess you could say. I don't know him that personal, but I've sent him stuff. He sent me stuff. We've talked quite a bit. 8 people. This is just the best way to do it. Yeah. We'll hold it above my head so I can't see what I'm going to draw. And, and that was our winner. Food Quig actually won it. Who would have come in second? Well, Moose, you were right next on top. And Danny and all the rest of them. So Food Quig is our winner for the Glencairn. Thank you for being here. Anyway, Moose, I enjoyed having you around. Might as well get off here so we can go over and see what's going on with the Scotch 4 Dummies. So everyone, have a good evening. Remember, the spirit in your glass isn't running from you. Take your time, sip it, and enjoy it. I'll get a hold of Food Quig. I know how to. Everybody have a good evening. Really a wonderful evening.